Yeah, hey there, I do this. Never feel loose. And when I get up in the
Hey everybody, welcome to Workforce Gaming. I am Brad, here with Street Fighter 6. I finally got around to. Came out actually like half a year ago at this point, but came out in the middle of 2023. I never got around to doing it, just other stuff on my plate. But Street Fighter 2 is actually one of my first games I ever owned on my Sega Genesis way back in the day. So I've been playing these forever. Always excited for a new Street Fighter. I like prefacing every fighting game review that I do with the fact that I suck at fighting games. I have been playing them since one of my first games. I suck at them.
Can confirm. I absolutely can confirm that.
I think I do remember playing with you. I don't even remember what we were playing back in college. I think it was like Virtua Fighter 5.
Virtua Fighter 5. That's exactly what it was, yeah.
And I just remember being like, you're like, oh, you play all these fighting games. You'll probably kick my ass. I think I would beat you like once out of every 4. And you're like, I don't even play fighting games. Shut up. How many? You put 30 hours into this? I played it twice.
I think it was like an afternoon. That's not it. No, it was an afternoon, and then we were both going like, I don't know about this. Then we kind of like never played fighting games again. We do not play co-op or fighting game or any sort of 2-player games. Well, like at all. Like
I'm
like
not
the
good at
handful of times we've done
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to kind of split this review into 2 parts. I want to split it into the part that is one of my favorite fighting games ever, and the part that is the thing that they swung big on and I didn't care for.
Okay.
So I want to start with the thing they swung big for and I didn't care for, because that's honestly probably where I put the majority of my time on, even though it's the part I liked least. And that is the World Tour mode, which they were pumping out like crazy before this thing came from. That was kind of one of their selling points on this. Like, check out this cool new mode. Mortal Kombat has their big cinematic story that's been going on. I played Yakuza once. Let's do that. And that is World Tour mode.
That sounds awesome. To be fair, like that's a good hook.
It is a good hook. The issue with this is that the story is non-existent in any way, shape, or form. I don't even think I could give you a synopsis of what the overall idea of the story is. It's you start out, you create a character. So this is all create a character stuff, which already not my jam.
Yeah.
But you start with a creative character. You and this other guy are in Luke's gym, and you kind of meet each other and like, oh, let's be rivals, Pokemon style. And it turns out that this guy's heavily into like gang stuff and all this other stuff. And this takes place canonically in the middle of the Street Fighter. So a lot of the things like that from Street Fighter games past have been defeated and destroyed. And it's just you in the city, and people like to fight. And that's basically the premise of this is you want to know what it's like to be the strongest. Story, 15 hours, go.
Whoa. That's a long game.
Yes, it took me about 15-ish hours to work my way all the way through this thing. But yeah, that is the general overview. Is I'm going to be the strongest, and you kind of get wrapped up in this gang thing. It's like, oh, basically it's you just, oh yeah, this guy was kind of my rival, and I met him, and now I'm going to chase him down for 15 hours. And at the end, some weirdly complicated stuff happened that I still don't quite understand with characters that randomly popped up in the last time. It's just, it's a mess story. So I want to leave that behind. What is very cool about this is you just fight anyone.
Yeah, yeah.
So like you're just walking around and you'll just see like some dude at a hot dog stand eating a hot dog, and you walk up and you push square and it just goes, round 1, and it just cuts into a fight instantly with literally not anyone. It's probably 95% of the characters in this game just pops into a fight, and you just fight them. You at the end, you're like, ha, and you walk away. You like thumbs up, walk away. And
isn't they set up like a world where canonically that kind of like makes sense? It's not like they're in a place where everybody's like fights each other, right?
It's how you deal with problems. It's just like it is canonic. Like the whole realm of it is basically like everybody wants to be the strongest. Everybody is like engaged. It's like street fighting is like a card game. Like you're playing Pokemon Go, but it's street fighting. Like that's kind of like the way it is. It's like, oh yeah, like this guy looks strong, I'm gonna fight him. Or like, oh, I just need a little bit of XP, I can go beat that person up. Let's go. And it's just it's goofy. Awesome. It is very cool. But again, it's just it. If it was an 8-hour mode, I think I would have been completely talking about this. But just by the time you get to like 15 hours of this, of like no story advancement, just running through all these, it's just like Yeah, they have like side missions, which are like the bare bones Yakuza side missions, where it's just like,
Mhm.
go get me a hot dog. I wish I had like, it's just it's
Is is there a world where this is cool? Like, is there?
yes.
Are you like okay? Are you like trash this thing, or are you like no? World Tour 2 is going to be where it's at.
World Tour 2, if you keep the ideas, but you get somebody else to make it.
Shit. Okay.
If you can like poach somebody off the like a dragon team and be like, hey, you just
Yeah.
finished up Infinite Wealth, like, come give us a little bit of help, because it's just. I think the issue is too is I played this right after playing Like a Dragon, the Man Who Erased His Name. It was the game I played immediately after that.
Oh, fair.
So I think it's just going from just like this is the game that does this flawlessly to this is the game that is very clearly just a cheap imitation of it.
Yeah,
It's kind of there. The other thing it does cool with the fighting is like if you go up to a group of people, you will fight the group. So
yeah,
like
2D? Okay.
yeah, 2D fighting game, but you have like 4 guys on screen that you're fighting.
Oh, that's cool.
Which just gets kind of crazy and chaotic and is a lot of goofy fun. When we get to the other stuff, we'll talk about some of the crazy goofy fun because there's a lot of that in here. And I think that just kind of, again, there are these fun goofy elements of it that work really well. And then there's just this long drug out story that just goes nowhere. It's meandering. It's no fun.
Mm-hmm.
One other thing with this, the main cast are masters. So basically you start with Luke because you're at Luke's gym, but then you'll run into Ken, and Ken will teach you like his moves. And if you use Ken's moveset, Ken will teach you more of his moves as you may advance. And you run into all of the main cast members to kind of like...
Is that cool?
Yeah,
that
that's very
awesome.
cool.
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
And the best part is like when you go there, they're like substantially better than you. So like every time you like meet a master, like, can I study under you? Like, all right, let's spar. And it's basically just I'm just kicking your ass.
Oh, that's cool. That is really cool.
And they're like,
so
oh,
they set something their AI or something like higher then?
Yeah, because it's all level based because you have to do some grinding in this, of course.
Oh, okay, sure.
So like you're at level 20, they're at level like 35, and it's just like the first time you get it, like, am I supposed to be doing this? Like, what? No, okay, well I guess I'll come back later. And at the end, like, you put up a good fight, bud. Let's work together.
That's cool.
So again, kind of cool.
This is not a you problem, but every time anybody talks about this mode, it sounds awesome. Yes. Everybody does a really bad job of saying it sucks.
Again, I think it's one.
I get what you're saying with the story and stuff, though. It is funny, though. It's just like it sounds like a really cool idea in some way.
Yes, it is. Again, I stuck around for 15 or 16 hours. There was something pulling me through. If you condense it down to maybe 8 hours, and you got a little bit better stakes writing type thing going on there too. Mm-hmm. All that being said, easily one of the best fighting games I've ever played. When you log into this, when you log in, you open it up, you get World Tour, Battle Hub, Fighting Ground. So you basically, it's kind of almost sold as like 3 separate games in one. So like Battle Hub is like your go-to, and it's like a hub world arena type thing where you can walk in, you can challenge people, there's other people walking around, you can buy stuff, you can do all this with your custom character, talk to people. It's kind of that MMO hub world type thing that you can kind of interact with people online. I didn't mess with that. Like I said, I suck at fighting games. I played maybe 10 online matches just to go, well, let's see if after 25 hours I'm any good at this game. And I am not. So that's obviously there for those of you who want it. But you go to the Fighting Grounds, which is basically, it's just, that is Street Fighter, the game that you know and love. It is arcade mode, team battles, like training, very good tutorial system. Breaks down each character's moves. You've got videos, you've got all this kind of training stuff that if you want to get good at it, that I do for like a half hour to pretend like I can get good at it. It's there. The arcade has the ladders with your normal like intro cutscene, ending cutscene for each character. That's still there.
Is that incorporated in like World Tour at all? Or are they just like totally separate? Huh?
Nope. None of it.
So their having like a different plot.
Well, I mean, fighting games always have that because it's like not every character wins. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I know that, but I'm saying like I would think that like their struggles would be somehow incorporated in the World Tour, but like are like the plot is okay, all right.
I mean, like
weird.
So like World Tour talks about like, oh yeah, was it Shadowloo, like that's been defeated, that's gone, but these gangs have taken over, and this gang's still here from the old time. It has some of like it incorporates like the history of Street Fighter, but not like the modern plot.
Gotcha. Oh, okay, interesting. That's a good.
So I mean, they each character gets their intro ending cutscene that you always get, which is always, I mean, it's always fun. You go through, you beat it with 10 different characters, get to see all the different stuff. Fun. Yeah. It also has what I'm just going to call the Smash Modes thing, which is basically like the best stupid couch games you can find. So like each one, there's like 5 or 6 of them, and they all have different rules. Like one is like a seesaw tug of war where it's like every hit, instead of doing health, like it knocks the bar closer to your side.
Oh, weird.
So you
okay,
have to like
sure. Yeah.
damage, but then they hit a super and push it back, and it's whoever can get the bar off the end 1st wins.
Oh, that's cool.
There's one called knockdown, where it's just, it doesn't matter how much damage you do, you have to have the other character hit the ground. They hit the ground 5 times, then you win. So even if you're doing all your little like weak combos and things like that are knocking him down, doesn't matter until you have them hit the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It's
kind
just
of reminds me of Tekken stuff. This reminds me of like weird Tekken stuff. That's cool.
Yeah, none of it messes to the point of like Tekken beach volleyball. Like it's not to that level, but it's just like how can we play with 2D fighting rules a little bit? There's one called Heaven and Hell where it'll be like, oh yeah, you have unlimited super gauge, but you start with half your health. Oh yeah, all of your attacks do double damage, but you're not allowed to jump, and it's just like a slot machine. Like cool. Here's your 2, here's your opponent's 2, and you get different ones. Just to change up the fighting, kind of like different power ups and different different opposite of power ups. My brain's not working right
now. One guy gets powers, the other guy does not get power.
The not power ups. But with that too, you can add in gimmicks. So there's like a bull will run through the stage, or like things will come down and shock you. Like there's just bombs randomly that you can kick at enemies. Like it's basically just like, what stupid thing did we come up with that we could make a fighting game? Let's just throw it in here and try it. And they're so much fun. It's one of those where it's just like, yeah, you're not going to spend 10 hours here, but I probably spent 2-3 hours just playing these dumb little games against the computers. It's like, it's a fun twist on it that I really liked.
That sounds cool. And I actually played a little bit of like the demo or something. It was like really fun. And I don't usually, I'm not a fighting game. I'm a fighting game guy if I have like 10 people to play with. Otherwise, I'm not a fighting game guy at all.
Yeah. So we didn't really talk about the fighting, but I just wanted to mention it really quick. So this has classic and modern controls. Classic is your Street Fighter that you've played for 20 years, 30 years, however long it's been. Your quarter circles, your back forwards, all that kind of stuff. That's there, untouched, works the same as normal. And then they have what's called the modern system, which very much limits you. It is very weird bouncing back and forth. Bouncing back and forth with them, especially if you know characters. So like I went through Arcade Ladder with Ken with classic controls all the way through, no dying, did great. Pat myself on the back for that one. I could like not an achievement at all. I did it with modern controls. I could not do it because the controls were so goofy because I knew who Ken was. But then I picked like, I don't even remember who it was, like one of the newer characters that was new in this game. I cannot play them classic, but I love playing them modern. It's very odd having the history because modern is basically like you get square, X, and circle are all just like different combo starters. So like you hit square, 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 and it'll just do one of your more powerful combos. And all of your super moves are just mapped to triangle, like Smash, where it's like, okay, hold left triangle, that'll do your like rising uppercut. Back triangle will do your spinning kick. Triangle neutral will do your Hadoken. Like it's very super move focused. You can hold R2 to do an auto combo with a button. It has all those things that you see in there. So it's kind of fun to kind of play back and forth with the characters. I could not figure out modern with any character I had any knowledge of. It just pissed me off that like, no, circle is this, circle is not that. But it's a cool way to kind of introduce those new characters if you don't want to go through the process of having to go, okay, let me learn the move sets of, I don't know how many characters in this, 15 characters, however many are in this. Modern controls basically simplify it to where you're more learning the like, okay, is this character more of a heavy, a range, that type of thing, more so than like okay, am I using quarter circles? Am I doing down back? Is it light punch that I hit with? Is it heart, you know, those types of things. So it's a kind of a way that I thought was very interesting to kind of get you to engage with more characters than you would in a normal Street Fighter game. But if you play,
awesome.
It is very cool. But if you've played Street Fighter for 30 years, like, don't touch it when you go to pick Blanca or whoever, because it's just gonna make your brain. It literally like made my brain hurt because I was like, I'm doing quarter circle doesn't mean anything now. I don't know what it literally messed with my brain. But the fighting is tight. It is fun. The supers are great. Gauges work really well. There's the drive gauge now that kind of plays with blocking and a couple other like unblockable things. That's kind of cool. So fighting is all top notch. Like I said, it is one of the best fighting games I've ever played with a mode that kind of
Is this your favorite Street Fighter?
Probably.
Okay, I was just curious.
I mean, Street Fighter.
I know like nostalgia is like a hard thing, especially with this series. But I was just curious.
Like Street Fighter 2, always like it's hard to say anything bad about Street Fighter 2. I don't have Street Fighter is not like Street Fighter to me is just kind of always an evolution.
Oh, that's fair.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's quite as much of a like step forward in terms of like I can really feel it as somebody who sucks at these and is very casual
Yeah.
with them, as you pointed out, versus like a Mortal Kombat. Like, I can pick out my favorite Mortal Kombat because like, oh, that story
sure.
is so important.
Yeah.
The gameplay has kind of shifted from just a flat 2D to kind of more of a 3D model to more of back that 2.5. There's been more shifts there, where Street Fighter has just been Street Fighter outside of, like Alpha and third, like all those kind of weird spin-off ones.
Yeah.
Mainline Street Fighter has just been mainline Street Fighter in my mind.
Especially since especially since like 4, 5, 6 to me seemed like pretty.
Well, and how much they build up these games where it's like 5 just ends support like 4 months before 6 comes out. So it's like, okay, like
Yeah. We're all moving to 6 now.
and I'm gonna sound like an ass, but I do love Street Fighter, but it almost feels more like that like Madden bump in my brain.
Oh yeah, fair.
Where it's like,
absolutely,
oh yeah, we added some new features, we played around with it a little bit, but the core thing is still the core thing for Street Fighter versus, again, something in my mind like, a Tekken or a Mortal Kombat, where it's like I can much more feel as a casual person what changes were made here.
Mm-hmm.
Not to one's better than the other, but
leave your comment below.
that's what I'm trying to cover my ass here, because I literally feel like I'm like, oh, the Street Fighter. I don't. You're right. The blocking distant frames changed. Sure, I couldn't even tell you what. But anyway, it's easily one of my favorite fighting games ever. I loved it. Had a great time with it. It's one of those ones that'll just stay on my PlayStation, just play a couple hours every few months, weeks, whatever, just because it is so good. But we are Workforce Gaming. Try and get new videos up every Monday. Subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment below. Nicely, not about my horrible fighting game thoughts. See you later.
Bye.